of, giving a bit of context about your journey, and we did say that we look forward to coming back to share your success story, and here we are today. And I just thought we can't miss this one, we must share. And so I was just saying that the reason why I'm particularly interested in putting this one out there is because it wasn't one of those instants. It's been a journey. Just feel like people need to know that. And for example, maybe you had a friend who maybe got their success story, and you just feel like, why hasn't it happened for me and stuff like that. And I always say, everybody's journey is unique. Everybody's story is different.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Olajumake Adebayo, but spellings call me Ola.
We call you Ola,
yeah. And I think we have two Olas.
Yes.
Yeah, but my team leader will call me Doc. Yeah, so I made a decision to leave teaching 2022 January. I remember I handed in my resignation on the 22nd, and I think December of 2021 you had a webinar where you like a taster or something. So I missed that, but I listened to the recording. And then I remember I had this call with you, and I told you I wanted to resign, and you said no, don't do that. Yeah, and you went no, don't do that. But then I had gotten to that point in my teaching career that was like, you know what, I've had enough. Had enough. This one, I had no plan B whatsoever. Yeah, I had a plan B of starting, switching into tech, but then there was no plan B of financial sources. And I said to myself, you know what, it's either now or never.
I know,
so
I remember that conversation.
I took the bull by the horn. Then I handed in my notice. Then I left teaching. It was a struggle at the start, trying to make ends meet, doing agencies here and there, and then, but after starting my sterling journey into tech, I went through the classes. Then we went into the sessions where we had our hands dirty. We were plunged right into the deep of the sea. It was tough. It was tough, especially getting into something you've never done before. I remember my first project. I was in another project. I got moved into GDPR, but I think that was the best decision.
Wow.
I initially thought GDPR was there.
No, I know you were like, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But I remember I missed the first two. I missed the classes for GDPR, but you sent me the videos.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm traveling into London on train, I would plug my ears and I was listening to those catch up while commuting to work. That project was a success, and I had very good team members. And even just towards the end of that project, when we went into the civic clinics, I started receiving calls. I was getting interviews, and I was like, yes, this is it. My morale was really, really high at that point. That was somewhere around July, August of 2022. My morale was very high. I had quite a few interviews then. I think I had one from NatWest. I had one from another insurance company, and I felt I did well. So when I started getting the rejections, or when I don't hear from them again, my morale started dropping. Then somehow I was able to, because of my teaching experience, I was able to get teaching agencies work to do, but I told myself I wasn't going back into full-time teaching. So I didn't pick up any full-time teaching role. I was only just doing agencies just to get me by. And then I finished my project with Sterling Careers. I was still getting interviews. I remember January last year, I had an interview with, it was one of the top 5 banks. And I felt I did very, very well at that interview. I was like, this one, there's no way I'm missing this out. And I didn't hear from them again.
Wow.
I think that was it for me. I said, you know what? No. I got tired, and then I was telling myself, you know what, I think it's time to go back to school. I think that teaching unit just need to go back to it. So those were my low periods. I was just confused. At some point I was confused. I was asking myself, have I made the right decision? And then beginning of last year, I have a friend who now started running a BA program, And he said, Jimmy, why not just join my program? Then I went, oh, okay, PA, nice. Let's give it a try. So I went into that. I brought in my PMO experience from Sterling, did documentation. That also boosted, kind of helped my morale again, because I had like minds, and then I was really impressed with myself, with how far I had gone, with all the things I've learned at Sterling, then being able to put them into play in that session as well with him. I was using different tools to do process map and whatnot. I was like, Jumoke, you can do this. I was really impressed with myself, but then I was still making the applications that early last year, but nothing. We are sorry. Up until Friday, I still got quite a lot of yours. I'm sorry, we are sorry. I'm like, okay, well, it's your loss. Then my husband would always encourage me that, you know what, you're good at what you do. I've heard you speak. I've seen your work. I've seen how much dedication you've put into projects and whatnot. Because I remember with GDPR, myself and I can't remember, how did I forget her name? In my team, you would stay on
the project manager, GDPR.
She was the privacy analyst.
I can't remember.
Oh my goodness, how could I have forgotten her name?
Lily.
It was Lily. We would stay until late, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And Helen would tell us, ladies, go to bed. You've got husbands, go to your husbands, go to bed. Helen will send us to bed. And we're like, no, we just need to get this done and out of the way, We were so devoted, we were so dedicated to the project then. So my husband was like, I've seen you putting so much effort into this. Your work is coming. He kept encouraging me, it would come. I said, okay, no problem. And then I remember signing up to an agency for an administrative role with HMCTS. I started that was nothing really to talk about, but it was one of those things I started using to build my CV. So I started the administrative position with HMCTS, and then not long after I applied for an administrative role again directly with the Ministry of Justice. That was a deal breaker for me. It was quite low. I remember when I told you, when I went for that interview, I did very well at the interview, and they rang me back that day and they went, you did really well at the interview, for someone actually did better, a little better than you, but they would really want to offer me the role. I felt myself really teary, like I was like, what did I do wrong? Where have I gotten it wrong? I was practically in tears. When you have tears gathered all over your face, I was like, what am I doing wrong? So I forgot about that.
Can I quickly stop you and ask you a few questions? So I know you're sort of trying to get through the journey, but so you've mentioned the fact that you started and you were like really pumped up, you had done everything, and then you started applying, and the calls were coming, but you were getting rejections and all of that. So, and of course there were times when you were like really low, but what would you say what would you say was the reason that kept you going? Because I know that we've had times when I would reach out to you and I would say, how are you getting on? And you will be honest with me, and I say it's coming, it's just a matter of time, because I know that you've put in the work and all of that. So let's say somebody, please feel free to ask questions. You can ask Jumoke any question. Please pop your questions, use the question symbol and ask any specific question for Jumoke. So what would you say if somebody, or any of the viewers here, was to ask you that, what really made you not actually go back to teaching? I know you're sort of trying to unpack it, because that's what happens. A lot of people try, they start the journey, and it's just like, oh, it hasn't happened month 1, 2, 3, 6 months, 1 year, and you're like, let me just go back to what I'm used to. But your case, I think it was more a case of, I'm not going back. But there were times where you felt like, so is there anything particularly that you can share that would really, that you can actually put a finger on to say, this is the reason why I stayed the course? I don't know if there's any.
I think one of the things why I stayed the course was, I don't like to say it this way, but I've seen, when I hear people outside in my environment that they've gotten their role, I'm like, how can this person?
They don't have to.
Exactly. I don't like to say things like that, but I'm like, what are they doing that I can't do?